Wonderful. And we are live. Just give me 1 second here. Welcome everyone to our panel. We're going to talk about how and when to build on Bitcoin today. I'm Albert, CEO of Bitcoin Startup Lab, and welcome to the Bitcoin Olympics Hackathon. This is a Bitcoin ecosystem-wide hackathon where multiple Bitcoin communities, protocols, and champions have come together to support, reward, and celebrate the innovative spirit of founders and builders on Bitcoin to create valuable use cases for sustainable Bitcoin.
Albert, you just went on mute on Twitter for the BTC Startup Lab.
Thanks. All right. So, yeah, thanks for that. Welcome everyone to the Bitcoin Olympics Hackathon. Our show is brought to you by Bitcoin Startup Lab. We're a top pre-accelerator in the Bitcoin ecosystem. We help people turn ideas into investment-worthy startups. Big shout out to our media partners, BTC Inc., parent company of Bitcoin Magazine. They're our top media on Bitcoin and Crypto Slate, a crypto-agnostic media platform that brings the latest happenings on Bitcoin to the rest of the crypto world. And of course, a big thank you to our teams and all the guest speakers that have come together to make this show possible and accelerate the advent of the Bitcoin economy. So let's get started. We have a full house today. How about we go around the room and everyone could, state your name, the protocol or the company you're with. Maybe you could do like a 15, 20-second intro. We'll go around the room and we'll get started. How about we start with Lomesh? I see you here at the top here.
Hey everyone, this is Lomesh. I'm the VP of Growth at Dfinity Foundation. Dfinity is a major contributor to the Internet Computer Protocol.
Thank you, Lomesh. Next up is Bob.
Yeah.
It's okay.
So, okay. Yeah. I'm good.
Yeah.
Hi everyone. I'm Bob Bodley, CEO and co-founder of Bionic. Really excited to be here building Ordinals Marketplace, and we're building it on ICP. So very fast, no network gas fees, great user experience. Happy to be here.
Welcome. And next up is Alexei.
Hey, I'm Alexei. I'm one of the co-founders of Interlay. Have been working in the Bitcoin research and development space since 2015. And what we're trying to do is to create a platform that allows us to build the next generation of Bitcoin dApps, starting with DeFi, trustless bridges, and then really also use Rust and EVM to combine the best of both worlds of Bitcoin and like the Ethereum ecosystem.
Wonderful. Welcome. And next up, John.
Yeah, I'm John S., CEO and co-founder of NeoSwap. And our vision is of a world where people can spend their assets as easily as they spend cash. So we're active on Bitcoin, Solana, Stacks, and any marketplaces here that'd like to talk to us about giving their customers more way to pay, allowing them to also pay with their ordinals. Love to talk to you about that.
Super welcome. And then Igor.
Hello everyone. I think I can hear me okay?
Yes.
My name is Igor Sylvester, and I'm an engineering partner with Trust Machines. I joined last year to build out the core engineering team at Trust Machines, now it's a team that is contributing chiefly to the development of SBTC, which I believe a lot of folks are waiting for. And we got a great team there with a great product, and I can't wait for that to be released.
Wonderful. Welcome. And Alex.
So I'm Alex. I'm the CEO of Hero Systems. We're a dev tools company for Bitcoin layers. So primarily building tools for the Stacks ecosystem as well as ordinals.
Super welcome. And then Amanda.
GM Amanda Terry. I'm co-founder and chief operating officer of MetaGood. We created the NFT collection On-Chain Monkey, which we are bringing all of our community onto Bitcoin. We're very excited to be building on the Ordinals protocol. I also am co-founder and managing partner of Acti Ventures with Bill Ty. So we invest in a number of early stage startups. I think about a third of our investments are crypto Web3.
Super. Welcome. Abdel, we're almost here at the end of the line here. We'll get
Hello
started.
guys.
Oh.
Hey. Yeah, my name is Abdel and I'm the co-founder and CEO of Deep Lake Finance. Deep Lake Finance is an API layer on top or inside of L1 mainnet Bitcoin which allows developers to build directly into Bitcoin without having to go to a sidechain or an L2.
Wonderful. Welcome. Welcome. And last but not least, Mithil. After this, we get
Nice.
started. Hi, Mithil.
Hey, Albert. Nice to meet everyone here. It's Mithil Thakur, co-founder and CEO of Velar. We are a multi-feature DeFi platform with Bitcoin finality, building user-facing DeFi infrastructure. Currently, in version 1 called Velar Dharma, we are a DEX and a launchpad built on Stacks. And we recently went live on beta mainnet, also starting to develop our version 2, which will be a pub DEX on Stacks.
By all the talent here in one place, right? We get to see each other, you know, in like what pairs or trios, but this is the first time we have, you know, it's a rare occasion when we have like 10 mega brains and pioneers in the Bitcoin ecosystem, right, all in one room. And we're here to, and as everyone can hear in the audience, this is a super well-rounded panel. So there's going to be representation from across the board from Bitcoin here, and we're here to discuss when and how to build on Bitcoin. And so we're going to get perspectives from all different camps here on Bitcoin. So how about we start with when, right? Let's, you know, maybe we could rapid fire, you know, maybe share your number one top reason on why the timing has arrived, or maybe if you want to be contrarian, not arrived to build on Bitcoin, right? It's it really depends on, I guess, what type of applications. Some applications are like just ripe for the picking. Maybe some are, you know, maybe down the road, but, you know, if you're, there's a lot of, this is a hackathon. So there are a lot of builders that are either already building on Bitcoin, and happy to say there's a lot of builders now coming from other ecosystems like Ethereum or Polygon, et cetera, right? Coming to Bitcoin, and they're thinking, hey, is this the right time, right? They've seen people come over because of ordinals and BRC20s and other innovations. What do you guys have to say that? If you guys have to like rapid fire top one reason or why the timing is ripe right now or not, right? So just feel free to chime in, or if it's easier.
I mean, if I can jump in, I mean, I think like us all being here showcases that Bitcoin is experiencing a renaissance, both in terms of like innovation and projects actually building on Bitcoin, but also in the community. Like there's more and more people moving away from, I think, this very maximalist approach of, you know, oh, you know, we should never build anything on Bitcoin, it's only holding, and the kind of messages that are being broadcast a lot, and that has scared away a lot of developers over the past years. And another one, obviously, is the upcoming Bitcoin halving, right? It's coming up. Miners have to figure out, and like a lot of players in this space have to figure out, okay, what do they do? And there's two routes. Either you try to save costs, or you look for new ways to monetize. And I think, you know, new ways to monetize means really bootstrapping a new builders ecosystem. So I think now is really the best time to start building.
Thank you for kicking that off, Alexi. You talked about the cultural shift that happens on Bitcoin, right? And you're also talking about like when it comes down to the mechanics, like how to quantify it. Wonderful. Thank you. Anyone got to add to that?
I was just going to say, I mean, we are in such an exciting time with the Ordinals protocol being, I think, version 0.81. We're not even at 1.0 version. And when you think, you know, from the NFT perspective, what happened with Ethereum, Solana, kind of growing the ecosystem, that hasn't been possible on Bitcoin before. There's never been the ability to inscribe software, applications, create all of these value on top of Bitcoin. So I think it's just super exciting. And we're such early days. So it's like, when do you want to come to the market? Come early, build now. And as Alexi was saying, like, you know, we've got 200 plus days till the halving. So it's like the perfect time to be building right now on Bitcoin.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy to think there's only 200 days now left. I was like, earlier in the year, it's like there's still 365, but now like you blink and it's 200. Ordinals is only at version 0.81. Imagine when it gets to 1.0. OMG, this is gonna like open the floodgates. Thank you for that, Amanda. I
Yeah, adding to Amanda's point, like ordinals and all these use cases coming to Bitcoin L1, the ripple effects and the snowball effect it will have on the overall ecosystem, on L2s, on side chains, on DLC based projects. It's I think it's going to be immense, especially with all those ETFs coming. So we saw BlackRock, Valkyrie, all those guys applying for at least like 8 or 9 ETFs were applied in last 3 or 4 months. So where will that liquidity go? So I mean, all this $1 trillion hedge funds, ETFs, bringing liquidity to Bitcoin, and with all those ordinals and other use cases coming to L1, there will not be enough space. There's limited block space on Bitcoin L1. So where will they go? So the ripple effects of this use cases coming to Bitcoin, I'm very excited to see how it pans out in coming years, and very excited to build around that.
No, I agree. Well, there's one thing for sure. Whenever there's change or chaos on the market, there's opportunity. That's for sure. Thank you, Mithil. I think Alex was up and then John.
I was just going to say actually exactly what Mithil did, which is I think you've heard plenty of people who are dislike ordinals that say we're like, it's already dying off or something, which A is not true. But honestly, even if it was, I think the biggest thing that ordinal is going to do is not just the direct impact on it, because obviously there is a limit to what you can do with it, but the amount of energy that it has brought into the overall ecosystem, and the sort of the compound effects that you're going to see on that of all the development on L2s, on DLC and things over the next few years is, I think, incalculable.
Super. Yeah, I couldn't agree more. John.
Yeah, I mean, I think Bitcoin basically speed ran the speculative era of maybe several cycles on other chains in the last few months. And now that's burned off. And now we're back to the perfect time to build, where I think the next wave of use cases will deliver real world utility, either through memberships of groups, like on-chain monkey, or you're going to have, eventually you're going to real estate and financial assets. They're going to find their way to Bitcoin. That when you have something valuable, you're going to want it recorded on Bitcoin. And then of course you have, recursions, you've got the ability to do really novel things on Bitcoin. So I think now's the perfect time to build an experiment and get ready for the next bull run, the halving, and get the infrastructure in place now. So this is really, I think, the ideal time.
Yeah, this is ideal time, right? Just like when no one's the wiser, jump in now. Yeah, by the time the Bitcoin calving comes around, it's going to be everyone jumping in. Igor.
Can everyone hear me okay? Yeah, so I would say as somebody new coming to Bitcoin, you see this blockchain that is very difficult to fork, right? And it hasn't changed for a long time. But I think that is a feature of the blockchain. It's a very strong foundation. And then you start seeing meta protocols building around that. And that is, I think, a lot of what is driving the innovation. But then again, these new meta protocols, that are being built, Ordinal being one of them, right, they could be strengthened so that then builders are building on a strong second level foundation as well. So coming from an infrastructure perspective, I think that there's a lot of opportunity to make these meta protocols more distributed, right, and better well specified.
Yeah, absolutely. So we got Lomesh, Bob, Abdel. You guys want to on this?
Yeah. So I think that like there are lots of things that make it right now the time to start building on Bitcoin, or maybe before the ordinal came into the space. There is the halving. So one of the panelists said, we can either cut costs or be more innovative and try to find products that are going to create some new revenue streams. Cutting the cost is the pessimistic way to think about the halving. A lot of people here, especially builders, are naturally optimistic about what they can do. So yeah, it makes people want to go there and try to find new ways new revenue streams to sustain the Bitcoin economy. So that's one opportunity right there to like go and build these new products and innovative ways to create these revenue and these revenue streams and profits. And also there was this currency, there was this huge market cap that was just there. And now with the ordinals, we have ways, we have tools, we have like solutions to be able to build on top of this currency, not just for payments, be like we were doing before, but now we can have like maybe almost any financial instruments that we've seen in Ethereum and other chains, in fiat, and in the traditional world too. Like we can build that on top of Bitcoin. And that makes this currency very, very attractive to a lot of builders because there is less competition to use that currency. If you are building, for example, a DEX on Ethereum, there will be maybe 15 other guys that are going to build or building the same thing as you. If you are building a DEX on top of Bitcoin, you have liquidity and you have less competition to get access to that liquidity.
That's a great point. That's a really great point, right? There's a bigger asset class, but less people competing for the same space. That's the beautiful thing about it. And we do need to create more use cases. I mean, Ordinals, just this one killer use case, I think is about $50 million in mining transaction fees, right? The first half. If we just keep the same trajectory, that's 100 million. Imagine if there's 10 killer use cases, 20 killer use cases, right? All of a sudden you have a completely self-sustaining economy. This is exciting.
Thanks. I just want to say from an investor standpoint too, like beyond building, it is a great time to invest. I mean, in the hype cycle of 2021, it was really hard to tell kind of like wheat from the chaff. Like you put money into marketing, everything is hyped, everything is expensive. Like now you see real companies, they have to have real traction. They're lean, they're capital efficient. They are making sure they can raise enough money to get through the bear. And so it's a very different group of founders that is building right now. And these are the type of founders from an investor standpoint that we want to be investing in. So, great for builders, great for investors as well.
Yeah, that's a super point. I mean, in Bitcoin, you don't need as much capital to go a lot further, right? There's like a lot less people trying to do the same marketing, et cetera. And yeah, this is like a different breed of founders that come out during the bear market. It's the people who have the foresight. I'm going to build now, so when a Bitcoin halving comes and things take off, my foundation is ready, right?
And stay lean, like cut where you don't need it, right? And I think it's really important. And obviously, like raise enough capital so you can get through the bear market. If you don't have, the revenues or product market fit from day one, is my only advice.
Yeah, super.
The fun thing here is that this entire activity like started give and take 5-6 months back. And like, I think so what I view this as like, it's an activity that like starting of Ordinals gave that rocket fuel that Bitcoin needed where the experimentation could start. And so we don't know if the killer use case is going to be the DEX or Ordinals or what it is, but like look back, like what happened in Ethereum like 3-4 years ago, I'm reasonably sure most of us didn't predict the kind of use cases that are being built today. So I think this brings Bitcoin to the game and essentially makes it possible for people to try out lots of different things on the Bitcoin. So I think that's really the big event in my mind.
Yeah, it's massive catalyst. John,
sorry.
Yeah, go ahead. No, go ahead. If you
just to maybe add on to that discussion. I mean, Interlay's existed since 2019, so we've kind of been around for a bit. And one thing that we kind of learned, and I believe like there's a lot of people, like a lot of successful founders, notably Brian Armstrong actually telling people that, like it's very dangerous as a startup to get into this analysis paralysis where you're too careful, too afraid to experiment. And you just analyze like, what can we do? And is this the best way forward? And, you just get stuck in like thinking about things and not actually doing. And if you look at Bitcoin, right, we are actually doing that, right? You have Bitcoin kind of really get stuck in, and fair enough, it's not really a startup anymore, of course, right? It's a very unfair comparison. You have a multi-trillion-dollar or multi-billion-dollar system. But still, I think it still applies if you compare it to like the scale of payment networks, like in traditional finance, it's still small compared to that. And sure, we would like changing Bitcoin is not easy, but without actually us founders like in this room creating use cases and trying to create a new ecosystem and showcasing, okay, that's the things that could work. And then we'll figure out what the product market fit will be in the next couple of months and years. And then maybe that helps make educated decisions on, okay, which opcodes we need to add to Bitcoin and how do we move forward, rather than just, debating on Twitter and going back and forth on the same topics over and over again. So yeah, I think that's a big benefit of now this push to build on Bitcoin with ordinals, Bitcoin layers, and so on.
Super. Yeah, that's a great point.
I just wanted to jump in and celebrate, the fact that we're all here on this panel right now. I mean, we have people from Ethereum, Ordinals, ICP, Rootstock, Interlay, Lightning, DLCs, Hero, Stacks, ZK, Bitcoin DeFi, Bitcoin AI. Like the fact that a panel like this is even possible on Bitcoin right now is incredible. That we're all together building on Bitcoin.
Yeah, now that you say it, it's obvious, right? But 6 months ago, there's probably like just a third, or maybe not even a third, right? So this is a good point, right? Like just even like half a year ago, maybe we couldn't have this panel, or we wouldn't be able to. Yeah, so that's a strong indicator, and this is just the tip of the iceberg.
Yeah, and to build on that, I don't think any one company can do everything themselves, right? And now is a great time, because of the bear market, to build partnerships with other companies. That when everything is going crazy, nobody has time for calls. But right now it's great. We're having, 10 calls a week with partners and working out all sorts of partnerships. So I think that it really is a great time to be building. The second thing I'd like to add to that is, AI agents are coming, and AI economic agents are going to dramatically prefer blockchains. Okay. So now is a great time to prepare Bitcoin for agents to operate on it. And that means getting the data together. That means getting the indexing. That means standardizing the data so it's easy for economic agents to act on the blockchain. So I can't imagine a better time to be working on Bitcoin.
Well, that's well said. And now that you mentioned strategic partnerships, right? Let's go into the next round of rapid fire. And to the audience here, we're going to open up the floor in about 20 minutes here. So you guys get your questions ready. But this next round is a time to be selfish, everyone, okay? Because some of you guys are, have created your own protocols, right? Or representing a protocol. Others have APIs, right? That are or developer tools that can be used, right, to make development much easier. And others, if you're doing DeFi or another protocol, you might think, hey, I'm hoping these other strategic partners or these companies can also come into the space, because that would strengthen you, right? So this is the time for you guys to be selfish and say, hey, how to build on Bitcoin? Well, this is one or two wish list ideas, and this is why you should use my technology, right? Let's keep it like simple and direct. So let's we have really good representation from across the board here. So who wants to go first? Who wants to share, right? Like these wishes ideas could be picked up by a hackathon team and built, right? Because let me remind everyone, we have over $100,000 in prize money now, and we even have a $50,000 prize pool for agnostic tech. So it doesn't matter, like any tech that you're building that could be applied to a Bitcoin use case, your app, you are qualified for that $50,000, right? In addition to all the tech specific prizes. So you guys feel free to throw it out there. Wish list, and why is your technology the best to in your opinion, right, to build that startup idea? Let's go. John, you're
Awesome.
first. John, do you raise your hand or no?
I did, yeah. A big problem that I'd like to be able to solve. You've got pretty good fair price prediction models on other chains, like especially on Ethereum for larger collections. And right now, ordinals, it's very hard to predict prices because the data are so almost chaotic. That the early days of ordinals, there was really no system for how ordinals were getting inscribed, and really happenstance. And I think that the whole challenge of systematizing the way the data for different ordinals are put on chain, and then somebody building price prediction models, because we rely on individual level price prediction models, and we can't use our full suite of tools on Bitcoin right now. If there were partners who were building out fair price prediction models, that would be great. And that would be very useful to every marketplace. That's a big need, in my opinion. So someone to propose a standard, and for people to train models to predict fair prices. That's a big need in the Bitcoin ecosystem.
That would be huge. Fair price prediction models. All right, guys, you're in the audience, man. If you guys sign up for the hackathon, I think that's a really awesome one. All right, like next up is
maybe I can go next.
who? Go ahead. Who wants?
This is Lamesh. So hey guys, I represent the Internet Computer Protocol. So what we have done with the Bitcoin integration is super special. So essentially, the Internet Computer is able to directly integrate with Bitcoin without any bridge. So on our end, what we do is we essentially like have a mechanism where we read the entire state of Bitcoin, store all the UTXOs, so any developer can simply query what's the account balance for each person, and then we have implemented the Bitcoin signature scheme, the threshold ECDSA. So which means we can not just read the Bitcoin state, but we can also write to it. What that opens up is it's like a general purpose smart contract development on the Bitcoin in an extremely trustless manner without a bridge. So you can come and write code in like Rust or Python or TypeScript, and you can just write any form of logic that you want to implement on Bitcoin. Yeah, I think that's a quick one, and I'm sure we have Bob here who's building some awesome stuff on ICP, so maybe he can talk more about that.
No, that was a great intro to ICP and its strengths. Now, Bob, you want to talk about some killer use cases or startup ideas that you'd if you had more time that you would build before next Bitcoin halving, like some wish list items that might be coupled with ICP, right?
Yeah, so we are building on ICP. We're building Bionic on ICP, treating ICP kind of like a Bitcoin sidechain. You will wrap your Bitcoin over. There's if you're familiar with, SBTC coming on stacks or the other kind of wrapped Bitcoin options, the CKBTC is the wrapped Bitcoin on ICP. That will be the currency that we use in Bionic to buy, trade, and sell ordinals. You'll also wrap your ordinals over to the ICP side as well. So you have, very, very fast transaction times, less than 5-second finality. There's no gas fees or network fees on ICP, and user experience generally is really good. And so we have kind of all of this infrastructure now on the ICP side. We have marketplace smart contracts. We have, ordinal and BTC wrappers. And if anyone wanted to come, and I've talked to a few teams already over the past couple of weeks, if you just want to come and spin up a smart contract to do something interesting with ordinals, whether it's one of one marketplace, whether you want to do English auctions, whether you want to do some other crazy thing with ordinals, it's pretty simple at this point to just spin up a smart contract at the application layer on ICP and then leverage some of the infrastructure tools we've already built to go from 0 to 1 fairly quickly.
Well, that's a huge offer. I'm hoping some contestants pick you guys up on your offer there. That'll save a lot of time. Super. Thanks for sharing, Lomesh and Bob, for ICP. Next up, let's I want to Alexei, and then Mithil, and then Igor, and then whoever else wants to go after that. So Alexei, thanks for your patience. You're up.
Cool. So I represent Intellay. Intellay is positioning itself as, well, you can call it a side chain, but it's more of a middleware between Bitcoin, Ethereum, and the rest of the multi-chain ecosystem. Intellay is a modular chain, right? It has a modular stack built in Rust, which allows it to really specialize for certain use cases, and that's how it basically has this trustless Bitcoin bridge. So Intellay is designed the first and deployed also the first trustless Bitcoin bridge. The design came from back in 2018. I think it's now also used by SBTC and a few other bridges in the space. The bridge has been live for over a year. It has resisted all the kind of market crashes. And it's the only economically secure bridge that is currently deployed in production. And the more interesting part that on top of this bridge, you'll of course, have all the libraries that allow you to read the Bitcoin state and interact with events that happen on the Bitcoin chain. But you can do that using Rust. So you can really do that using Bitcoin libraries. So you don't have to reinvent everything. You don't have to rewrite everything. If you've been working with Lightning or ORD libraries, you can actually reuse that, and you can actually extend on your current stack and integrate smart contracts. But the cool thing is that you then get this EVM compatibility, that you can have access to all the tools that you have on Ethereum. and all the infrastructure. And for those of you who spend time building in the space know that, unfortunately, to this date, all the infrastructure and tooling and wallets are skewed towards EVM. And this way, and until you actually get access to the best of both worlds, you have all the compatibility and access to liquidity and assets from Ethereum and other multi-chain networks like Polkadot and soon Cosmos, hopefully as well. But also really it's tailored to Bitcoin. You have all the libraries and interfaces. In terms of use cases, I mean, Intelli features a native DeFi hub. We built this killer app to showcase how the stack works and how easy it is to build on it. But what I really think will be super interesting are peer-to-peer swaps. So just being able to swap Bitcoin and taking loans against BTC and basically getting stablecoins and doing that within one transaction with Lightning integrations, obviously exploring more how we can trade ordinals, but essentially also do that against stablecoins on Ethereum and get DAI, for example, instead of only using USDT or USDC. And then I do believe that there's quite a few innovations to come in the mining sector, although this is probably a trickier one to handle. But if you have a good understanding of the mining space, or you're willing to accept the steep learning curve, I think there's a lot of things that will be happening there. And we have quite a few interesting projects already exploring that space.
Well, those are some really awesome ideas to be built on Interlay. Thanks for sharing, Alexi. Mithil.
Hey guys. So with Velar, we built a DEX and a launchpad on Stacks, and on Stacks we use Clarity, and Clarity is a comparatively new language. So I can speak about Stacks and Clarity more because we built on top of it. I think as we move forward with SBTC and Nakamoto upgrade coming on Stacks, I think a lot of liquidity is going to come into Bitcoin ecosystem in general. I mean, we can all agree to that. So I think an automated smart contract audit solution, if people can just automate unit tests. I mean, we did like over 200 unit tests for our own contracts when we launched Velar, but there are not many audit platforms out there who do Clarity audits. So I know it's kind of difficult, but if a team can pull it off, I think a lot more smart contracts and a lot more projects are going to build on Stacks. I think an automated unit test running solution smart contract audit platform can work really well. Apart from it, like, because a lot of liquidity is going to come to Bitcoin ecosystem, I think low risk, low yield fixed income products can also do really well, which I think might not work for next 6 months, but like in coming quarters after 6 months, as we approach halving, as the liquidity increases, as liquidity starts to move from L1 to sidechains and other L2s, it can be L2 agnostic also. But like fixed income, low risk, low reward yield products, I think can do really well apart from smart contract auditing platforms. It's what we are missing in the ecosystem right now.
Well, that's a big idea too. Awesome. Thanks for sharing, Mithil. Excellent. Igor, you're up. And then Robin and Alex.
Thank you. Yes, I wanted to share my perspective on SBTC, given that is what I've been working on the past year. Today, there's a lot of there's many choices on how to bring programmability to Bitcoin, and that is important because Bitcoin offers quite primitive programmability on its natively. And so we have things in the landscape like Stacks SBTC, ICP, Rootstock, and other Ethereum bridges. And I would say what's definitely unique about SBTC is that it's the closest product that I'm aware that kind of follows the root or the Satoshi Nakamoto vision of a truly decentralized and open system. And I think that is quite powerful in terms of marketing and to be able also to attract users. If you were to put all these solutions, Bitcoin programmability solutions into a sheet, you'd find out that there's a trade-off between performance and decentralization, right? And each product falls in a different curve of that. And so Stacks and SBTC is the most decentralized programmability layer that you have, where we expect there to be thousands of pseudo validators or signers, right? Whereas other platforms may offer just maybe a dozen of validators that are also closed source or closed membership. As a result, though, that means that perhaps Stacks in the past is not being as performant, given that it needs to be running on, the nodes could run on Raspberry Pis or even commodity hardware. However, there's ongoing work to add compiled code to Clarity, which is Stacks programming language. And early results that I'm seeing just from a few weeks ago that lead to kind of 100x speed up in terms of that. So if you thought that Clarity was slow, it may not be anymore. And so I would say definitely revisit any preconceptions that you have Stacks because that area is rapidly changing, and whatever you knew 6 months ago might no longer be true. So that's what I wanted to share.
Thank you. And people could start trying it out SBTC on testnet, correct?
Yes, although I'm not, you should definitely check with the community members on the Discord for specific dates.
We'll definitely have that. Excellent. Thank you, Igor. Robin, Alex, and then Abdel.
Hey, yeah, I just wanted to share something that we're working on. So we're Liquidium building ordinal lending, and right now, like it's peer-to-peer loans against ordinals, so ordinals can be used as collateral. And something that we are working on right now is basically the function to borrow instantly. So essentially just having like a borrow button to a collection where you can like click on it and you can get an instant loan against like a piece of this collection. And what we thought would be cool to have for others is essentially like an API that we can provide to other services like marketplaces, wallets, and so on. So you can basically integrate like the borrowing functionality natively on your service. So yeah, that's something we're working on. And if you're working on marketplaces, wallets, or any type of thing that is related to ordinals on layer 1 Bitcoin, and you think like a functionality for instant loans on that could be cool, reach out to us. We want to talk to see like how we should structure the APIs and how it would make sense for you as a platform. So yeah, just wanted to share that.
Wonderful. That's a great idea too. Super. Thank you, Robin. Alex, you're up.
Yep. So I'll echo a little bit. As I mentioned, at Hero, we build for both ordinals and for stacks. I think echoing a lot of what Igor was talking about, like SBTC and the larger Nakamoto upgrade that's coming on stacks, I think is going to create what is a really powerful and compelling solution that is as close to the original vision for Bitcoin as we've seen. Total trustless pegging in and out, also using threshold signatures, similar to the ICP guys. So clearly there's something to threshold signatures. And then also really important, I think, one of the original decisions that was made with stacks was to tie, because we are so closely tied to Bitcoin, was to tie block times to Bitcoin block times. Unfortunately, Bitcoin's kind of slow on confirming transactions and unreliable on it. So I think bringing, block time confirmations down to like sub 5 seconds is going to dramatically increase both the throughput, but obviously just, bring things to the user experience that people are expecting now. And so I think this combination gives us a really scalable and really truly decentralized approach that folks can come while kind of creating a good set of economic incentives. So I definitely encourage people to really check out the power of the fully expressive smart contracts. Clarity is a much nicer language to write in than Solidity, and also actually understandable by humans. So you have predictable outcomes on things. And I never say that anything is secure, fully secure, right, or can't be hacked. But I think doing whatever we can to make it easier for people to write secure contracts and things is a really important thing as more and more money scales into this system. So personally, the stuff that I'm really excited about right now and would love to see people digging in and building on is a lot of just like international cross-border trade type things, right? And I think there's a lot of applications around DeFi, around Bitcoin. We're seeing greater and greater adoption through various parts of the world of Bitcoin and stable coins. And I think bridging that and creating tools where folks can have equal access to cross-border markets is the things that I'm most excited about right now.
That's also a huge opportunity. Thanks for sharing that, Alex. Abdel, what's going on layer one, DLC land? Like your chance to be selfish right now. What should be built with your DLC APIs?
Yeah, I think like what I'm looking for is a little bit more boring than what all of these guys have been talking about. I just think that like we need the infrastructure for lending, borrowing, for like a real infrastructure that is stable and that is robust for lending, borrowing on top of Bitcoin. This means that we should be able to do over collateralized stuff, under collateralized stuff. We need to be able to have like a credit score that allow people to go and get a loan. We need to have stable coins. We need to have off ramps. We need to have on ramps on Bitcoin L1. And once we do that, like we can go to other more advanced, more like cooler or cool stuff that we can build natively into L1 mainnet Bitcoin. Speed question is a critical question. Like we need to find a solution for that. Sub 5 seconds, like it was echoed by Alex and the panelists here, is a real question, the real challenge. We need to find a solution to that to be able to scale and to be able to get more adoption in the ecosystem.
Yeah, super. I mean, if I had to summarize, it sounds like you're inviting people to build the different components of a decentralized bank on Bitcoin L1. Starting with lending.
Yeah, I was I avoided I was avoiding saying that, but like yeah, these are the pieces to build a decentralized bank on top of L1 Bitcoin, and we need to start.
Yeah, no, we need to start, right? Because actually it's really funny. Like for those of you who signed up and those of you who haven't, right, sign up through our website, but the link, as you see, it goes to DevPost. And if you search for a blockchain contest, there's actually another hackathon going in parallel with our hackathon put on by Ripple, right? And they are encouraging people to build applications around the central bank digital currency. So if that's not a call to action, guys, to build something on Bitcoin here, I don't know what is, right? We have to counter that. We've got to counter that. They have they've been running for a few weeks now, and they already have over 1,000 applicants, okay, contestants. So we're definitely gonna go beyond that. All right. So, but we need all your help. Go into the chat, click on that tweet, sign up. Okay, sign up. Everyone here, if you build anyone's technology here, you're eligible for prizes. We have agnostic prizes and also tech-specific prizes. All right, so that was my tangent. Let's go back to John, and then in a couple of minutes here, let's open up the floor to some questions. I bet people are curious to ask this all-star panel some questions about what and how to build on Bitcoin. So everyone in the audience, get ready. Raise your hand. I'm going to keep an eye on the Twitter space for anyone who raises their hand. You come up and ask a question to any of these awesome panelists. But before that, John, did you have something to add?
Yeah, well, I just wanted to piggyback, what Abdel is saying. First off, we work with Deep Lake, and I would say that you guys do a really good job. And I think these kinds of partnerships, we should really seek them out. That it is, don't try to build everything yourself. You've got partners, and use them and make you go much faster, with partners. Same thing with Robin. We're talking to Robin about using those loans. When you go to buy something, we have a pay with NeoSwap feature coming, where you're going to put buttons on marketplaces. And if you don't have enough money to buy something, you press that button and you'll have other ways to use your assets to get currency, get liquidity at the moment. I do want to add one little caveat for anybody doing anything with loans, as I've gotten into this. You do want to be careful, because you don't want to look like you're operating as a loan broker. And that's something that we're looking into right now. But just, and all of this, we have to be careful not to get in trouble with regulators.
No, that's very good. Great caveat there. For the purpose of the hackathon, guys, since you guys will be on testnet, just the sky's the limit. Be a cowboy, right? It's just on testnet. But if you want to launch the mainnet and take real revenues, then yeah, you definitely got to be careful about regulation and all that stuff, depending on where you are around the world. Yeah, so thank you for that, John. Yeah, and I'd like to point out that Robin, you did a great job, right? Robin, you're about a year ago, you're in the same position as a hackathon people, right? Just it was just an idea, and you're finding an idea, right? And now you've partnered with Abdel and John and who knows what else, right? And you guys successfully raised your first round with awesome traction. Great job. So by the way, to all the audience, everybody here is going to be participating on more classes or keynotes or their technical counterparts, or they themselves here will hold some office hours to help you get acquainted with their technology. So this is right around the corner. If you guys want to ask any questions, now is the time to ask. Okay, so let's see. Do we have any? It is probably like pretty high pressure to come up to stage and ask a question when there's like 10 gig of brains on the panel. let's see if anybody wants to take this opportunity.
To help fill the time, I'll say, wasn't that long ago. Robin's gone from closing his round, like he closed his round recently. And just a few months ago, I was convincing him to tell his parents that he was going to go full time and not go back to school. So that's how far you've come, Robin, in just a few months, from hard conversation with your parents to closing around. So congratulations.
Yeah, there you go. I bet your parents might have something said about it, but after you close around, it probably helped, right?
Yeah, now
I want to add.
Yeah.
Want to add to that. Can you hear me?
Yep.
Yeah, I would not add to that in the midst of business and life, not taking risk is the risk. Taking too much risk is obviously reckless, but taking too little risk, it's just not optimal. There's a certain amount of calculated risk that you need to take to grow, right, and to explore new things. Mm-hmm.
You can always go back to school.
I remember John said, "Fortune favors the brave." That really like stuck in my head. I think that's a great word or sentence.
Our CXO still hasn't graduated from college. He's been director of technology of one of my companies. He teaches blockchain at the university, and he still hasn't graduated. His parents are still trying to get him to finish his undergraduate degree. And it's for what? Like look at his resume. Like to do what? To get a job that's not as good as the one he has. That would be the only reason to do it. Say, yeah. You can post on Twitter, "Hey, I'm looking for a job. You get one tomorrow." And it would, just no, college is, I think, dramatically overrated. I mean, I have a PhD, so it's easy for me to say that, but like, I still think it's overrated.
Yeah, in many cases it is. In many cases it is. It is about courage, right? Because I think everybody sort of has a creativity bug, or at least like a dream to be an entrepreneur, right? At some point in your life, right? But what separates those from who become one and those who do not become one? I think really one of the key aspects is like nurturing that courage to take that leap, right? And maybe even it's not about taking the leap in one big step. It's more like, all right, can I go to a hackathon and meet some like-minded people and get inspired by, for example, the panelists that we have here today, right? Mingling and getting just plugged into the ecosystem, right? And then through that experience, we'll gain a little bit of confidence, a little bit of courage, and then next time we'll bite off a bigger piece, right? And eventually, that piece is big enough to sustain the beginnings of the startup, right? So that was a great point.
Can I just add, as far as what Robin said about fortune favors the brave, the way I operationalize that is, when in doubt, do the braver thing. You don't want to do stupid things, okay? That like, there's a point where it's clearly stupid. Don't do that. But when you're not sure what to do the brave thing, and that will work out over time.
Yeah, that's really great advice. Lots of great advice from John here. I actually see a brave soul here speaking about courage. Great job. Encouraging people to be courageous. Jonathan, you're up. You have speaker rights. Like, go for it.
Hi. Wow. Yeah. Courage. Fortune favors the brave. I just had a question. I was actually watching the Ordinal Revolution and had a question for Bob. I don't know if you're able to go more into it and why everybody seems to stop it, or what was talked about before this, but I wanted to know if Bob would go more into how he feels about the boss protocol, and if that's more of a way of going
Okay.
with ordinals and things.
So I think, Jonathan, let me see if I understand the question. You want to ask Bob Bodley here? What he thinks about the BOS protocol as it pertains to ordinals? Is that your question?
Yes, correct. Thank you.
All right, wonderful.
Yeah, sure. Happy to take it. So I did a deep dive with the creators of the BOS protocol, and their documentation is a little bit hard to understand, but essentially what they're building is a meta protocol on ordinals. So I would call this a meta protocol, or a layer 2 meta protocol or something like that. And they're trying to standardize the governance for how you actually upgrade a meta protocol. So right now we have a lot of BRC20 indexers or ordinals indexers, but the actual like upgrade process isn't or the governance process isn't super set in stone. And so they're trying to make improvements there on the governance side. They're also trying to create kind of like a meta indexer. Imagine if when you're running an indexer, there's just a bunch of check boxes and you can just say, do you want to index BRC20? Yes. Do you want to index ORC20? Yes. Do you want to index ORC cache? Yes. Do you want to index SATS names? Yes. And so having that meta indexer layer, and then they're trying to think through how you might provide incentives for someone to run an indexer like this. So BOS protocol is really interesting. I don't think I could have pulled all of this from the documentation myself. I had to have a conversation with people at the team, but I'm excited to see, you know, what updates we get from the BOS team over the next weeks and months.
Super.
I appreciate that. Thank you. I'm looking forward to building. Definitely interested in the space, and thank you for allowing me to speak.
So he said, thank you for the answer, and he's looking forward to building the space. Wonderful. Awesome. So, okay, while we wait for the next speaker, how about this? You know, how about we just go around again, just for the people who are coming in late here in the crowd? What's your wish list item to be built on your protocol or with your API, or maybe like it's a strategic value to your company? You know that's going to be a great idea. You guys don't have time to build these things right now, right? But if you had the time, right? Like let's say if your company could magically run itself, right? What would you build with your technology before the next Bitcoin halving, as Alexi put it, 200 days from now? Wow, right? What are those? All right, Alexi, let's hear it again. What would you build on Interlay, right? If your company magically run itself. But you got to turn your speaker on. We still can't hear it.
I'll take it.
Okay.
I'll take it while he's figuring out the audio. One of the things that I really want to be built is a set of decentralized indexers for meta protocols. So imagine you could even run like a full Bitcoin node on ICP, for example. It's going to be kind of expensive, but you could do it. And then you could build a fully decentralized Explorer, Bitcoin Explorer. And then on top of that, you could build an ordinals indexer, you know, fully decentralized ordinals indexer. You could build a decentralized BRC20 indexer. You could have governance for those various indexers. You know, the community could actually push out updates. And I think that's one thing that would be really interesting that I just don't have time to build right now. I've talked to multiple people who, you know, are excited for something like this to happen, but yeah, we're just not quite there yet.
Yeah, well, that would be certainly an invention or innovation that would make everything far more efficient, right? Super. Thanks for that, Bob. Alexi, let's try it again.
All right, this works, right? You can hear me now.
Boom, you're on.
Perfect. Cool. So one thing that's, I mean, we just posted a research piece on that, and I this is something that I've personally worked on and things like on the research side, and I would definitely encourage people to look more into this, is Bitcoin staking, right? So if you compare Bitcoin with proof of stake assets like Ethereum, Avalanche, Solana, right? If you hold these assets, you can actually, you think they're going to increase in value, you believe in the ecosystem, what do? You'll stake them, and that protects against the inflation of the network. Plus, you actually, you actually accrue some risk-free yield, because, like, of course, if the protocol breaks, sure, then the assets go to zero. But otherwise, staking is like the lowest risk that you can get, like assume in terms of like getting yield on your assets. But in Bitcoin, it's not that simple, right? In Bitcoin, what can you do? You can do mining yourself, which is not for everyone, right? The electricity costs are quite variable. You can do like hosted mining, and you can do like hash rate marketplaces, but these are quite centralized. And we've actually done a lot of research and spoken to a lot of the big mining companies about how can we decentralize those. And I think there is a very interesting niche right now. And like actually with our tech, you can build ways to verify and to increase like the decentralization, trustlessness in these hash rate marketplaces. But on the other hand, you have ideas to potentially use Bitcoin for securing proof of stake networks, but these need Bitcoin forks. So that is something that is more interesting on the academic side. But then something that you can do already today in a fully decentralized manner is actually create, like you can emulate staking. You can have Bitcoin and then get access to proof of stake rewards on Ethereum and other proof of stake chains, and do that through DeFi and actually use your BTC through lending and trading and actually create very interesting products that get very close to just, earning staking rewards. And I think this and the mining sector, I think that's essentially two very interesting opportunities that I encourage people to look into, because if we're honest, DeFi is going to be the driving factor for many people, right? Yields and like earning passive income on BTC is something that I believe will contribute positively to adoption, because it allows people to diversify more into BTC and potentially use that passive income to actually spend it on day-to-day lives, or just have it as a good investment. And it positions Bitcoin, if you just think in the crypto space, it positions Bitcoin on par with Ethereum, with other POS assets that have been very popular. And right now we're missing out, because with Bitcoin, you can hold it and that's it. Or you go, well, Celsius, Voyager, all these centralized exchange providers that have failed us over and over again. So that's something that I would highly encourage people to look into, because that I believe will be one of the big driving factors for adoption in the next bull run.
Yeah, no, I think you're absolutely right. Like Bitcoin yield, right? Why not? Why not? It's like the same picture inscribed on Bitcoin is worth a lot more. So if it's the same yield, but in Bitcoin, it's also much more sound. I was actually I was talking to a friend who's a really good he's really good with his personal finances. So he does a lot of research, and he came up with a figure that like across the industry for experts, people on average now, they, it's sort of like a widely accepted practice to have at least 5% of your holdings in Bitcoin, right? And this is just the beginning of this Bitcoin yield era. So thanks for that, Lexi. By the way, guys, we're going on our final round here because we're about to jump in about 10 minutes here. So if you guys want to follow Lexi or any of these panels, click on their speaker in the Twitter space, right? Check them out. Follow us too. These speakers or their counterparts are going to come back and share with you guys how to actually implement these things during the hackathon. All right. So follow all of us. Follow all of us. And let's just go down line, man. Let's go down line. Who's next? Igor. Like I think if we all budget like about a minute.
Yeah. So a couple of things that have been just top of mind, but due to throughput or capacity issues, it would be cool for someone with an infra background to add ordinal support for SBTC. All the kind of pieces are there; they just need to be put together. And a POC would put you kind of like at the center of a Stacks ecosystem, and it doesn't have to be complete. Just like it has to kind of work and just prove the concept. And the second thing that it would be a nice thing to hack up together is what Bob and I have been discussing, which is this idea about CK stacks. So really what this means is that today the Stacks network submits hashes, right, or commitments to its state. The difference is now it would be writing a snack proof, a proof of computation onto the Stacks blockchain. Again, all the pieces are there. The hack may not be performant, or it may not be good enough to merge it, but just having something tangible there would be like huge, right? So I would say like, well, I should be building that today myself, but yeah.
Yeah, those are both, those are both huge ideas. Okay, and then John, I see your hand up there, but Amanda, let's you missed the part where everyone's being selfish and say, hey, this is what you should be building on Bitcoin, right? So the like with on-chain monkeys and recursion, right? You've put up a prize money just like everybody else here. What are some of the wish list items you hope the contestants at the hackathon can build with that tech?
Yeah, I mean, I think we really want to focus on some of the OCM dimensions code base, and we can share a link. I think we shared a GitHub link with you, but we would love people to use some of that code and do some just really cool shit off of recursions for OCM dimensions. So, I'll chat with Danny a little more if we want to refine that, but like really, we just want people creating cool stuff, right? Like OCM dimensions was such an innovative collection in terms of, first use of recursion. There's all the libraries available for people to do stuff. People have been posting games, software, other art collections, and then just to, give kind of credit or, just hats off to On-Chain Monkey for making it possible, I think like is kind of what we're looking for.
Super. And people go find those resource documents in the Discord that we have for the hackathon under resources.
Yes.
So all those are going to become visible in the next couple of days. Thank you for that, Amanda. Looking forward to some awesome innovations with that technology. And thanks for pioneering that with On-Chain Monkeys.
Well, a lot of it is Danny and our Eng team.
You guys, it's a group effort. You guys are awesome. All right. And next up is John. So we have total 7 minutes left here, guys. So again, like your last wish list items, if your company can magically run itself, what would you build before the next Bitcoin halving is the question.
Okay. But something I think is really needed, I mentioned this a little bit earlier, is standardized metadata for ordinals. And it would be great. It'd be great use of recursion where someone could go and clean up all the early ordinals and inscribe the new metadata and refer to the previous ordinal. And you could scan the blockchain and you could have standardized metadata and you could know, what are the properties of these ordinals? And that's going to allow then for the predictions that are needed. If you're going to have economic agents running, you're going to need clean data or relatively clean data so that which ordinal you're talking about, how much is it worth, how can you predict its value? That's going to enable all sorts of economic activity. So that would be my wish list, is someone to go through, propose a standard, and then clean up all the historical ordinals according to that standard and inscribe the new data with a reference to, in each case, refer to the ordinal you cleaned up, and then we can scan the blockchain and we would have now standardized metadata.
That'd be insane. Basically, that help you. Well, I mean, it's a collective effort, right? To basically make your assets as liquid as money, right? That's a right now. That's a great vision. Super. Thank you, John. Mithil.
Hey, Albert. So I have a dream for Bitcoin halving. The dream is that we facilitate, like large traders, which have a huge impact on crypto ecosystem in general, to be able to use their Bitcoin holdings as a collateral and to be able to trade derivatives and leverage on their favorite coins while being on the Bitcoin ecosystem itself, while having a completely decentralized, non-custodial, trustless solution on the Bitcoin chain itself. And Albert, I don't live a life of regret. So my wish list is my goal. That's what we are doing. We'll build that regardless of any external circumstances.
Yeah, well, and great job for setting the record on Bitcoin for most users, right, on testnet, over 100K in 4 weeks. That was insane. Great job. I think you represent like a new breed of founders on Bitcoin, people who come from Ethereum world, right? And you have this massive knowledge arbitrage. It's great to have you here in the Bitcoin space and innovating.
Thank you so much, man. Appreciate it.
Awesome. Wonderful. So, okay, so we have a couple of minutes here and we have Pei here from Rootstock. Hi, Pei.
Hey guys, so sorry. I think I completely missed the instruction.
It's okay. It's okay. You made it just in time, right? This is basically time to be selfish, right? You're representing Rootstock, right? your wish list. What do you wish was built on Rootstock before the Bitcoin halving? Right? Like, be selfish here.
Yeah. I mean, we just wrapped up the first wave of the grants. We've got really interesting use cases that we wanted to support. I think before the halving, I would love to see assets, native assets, Bitcoin native assets happening on Rootstock. So a couple of the projects actually were about building marketplaces for ordinals and similar assets to be traded on Rootstock. I think that's super interesting. NFT launch pads and more gamified use cases as well. I think there's some also like real world asset tokenization use cases. I think would be cool because that's like, I think is where the next sort of jump and wave would be about, right? It's at the asset level.
Yes.
Yeah, but it's super interesting also to start talking to projects that are building directly on the layer one, hearing about the yield use cases and DLC development. So I'm just trying to connect the dots. What is the implication of that for sidechains and L2s on Bitcoin, such like.
That'd be interesting too, right? Like a combination, like DLC and Rootstock, right? Maybe.
Yeah,
that'd be interesting.
exactly.
Yeah,
because the way I think about it is like there are certain use cases you don't need the speed and scalability, and if you're super keen on decentralization, censorship resistance, and decentralization, all of that, and you want to keep it simple, like simplicity is important, then you would just do it on a layer one if you can. But once you get to the high frequency transactions and micropayments and more of a complex contract-based use cases, then you can't really do it on layer one. And then, then you will look for platforms and bridges to migrate the assets over. But the question is, where do you draw the balance and how do you kind of collaborate so that there's like equal amount of builder interest and activities on both the layer one and layer twos. It's like very natural progression as you saw on the Ethereum layer one and now the roll-ups, right? The layer twos.
Yeah, that's a good way to think about it. Like what are the use cases that you can handle like the 10-20 minute block times, right? And then but if you want to do high frequency, that's a really good place to start thinking about a sidechain such as Rootstock. Yep. Super.
Yeah. Another thing, just the final point is if you are a Bitcoiner that don't really like any other tokens, right, or tokenomics other than BTC, then obviously it's not as relevant. But the truth is the DeFi economy will only sort of thrive when you do have that programmability and the tokenomics that would only exist on layer two and then most likely a smart contract based sidechain. So you can actually start the value accrual through those derivative or alternative tokens, right? You introduce the economy and that's embedded in the token itself. And the Bitcoin ecosystem can finally say that there is value accrual in our ecosystem and it's not just buy and hold and that's it. So I think that'll be interesting to kind of see as well. Is like there's certain things definitely make sense to build on layer one, but like there are a lot of more things that would make perfect sense to build on the sidechain.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And great words of encouragement to invite people to explore DeFi with tokenomics. That definitely is a massive tool for Web3. And it's ripe for the picking right now in Bitcoin, right? So that's another thing you could be building on Rootstock. Thank you for that, Pei. We're coming up on time, guys. Any last remarks? Lomesh, you've been a little quiet there. You wanna finish this off?
Yeah, I think so. And again, like so from our point of view, I mean, I have two goals. One is like the capabilities that we are trying to build, some of which Bob explained, like a decentralized indexing for like ordinals, SRC20s, BRC20, so on and so forth. We already have an ability to custody ordinals thanks to the ECDSA. And then the third thing is like, hopefully we have an ability soon to inscribe ordinals from ICP in a decentralized way. So Bob wrote the first pay to witness script hash, but we needed to be blessed. So I think that's one of the things that we are hoping to achieve. But I think my bigger goal as a ecosystem, like in the ecosystem development, is like it's less about the capabilities of what we offer, but I really want entrepreneurs like Bob and others in our ecosystem to be super successful before the next halving. And I think that's really my hope and wish. That's I want it bigger than any of the capabilities.
Thank you for that. Thank you for that. Okay, so we're up on time, guys. And again, oh wait, Bob, you want to have a last word here before we check out?
Last final word. I just wanted to say big thank you to Albert. Albert, you've been, corralling the forces and spearheading things. You've brought tons of builders together, going through the BTC Startup Lab. And, I don't think we would all be here without you. So thanks, Albert, for all the work you're doing for Bitcoin.
Well, I really appreciate that, Bob. It brings a tear to my eye. Like, it was very heartwarming. I have to thank my team, and at the same level, I've got to thank you guys, because this is a Bitcoin ecosystem event, right? And this wouldn't be possible without everyone being open-minded, right? Putting our best foot forward and good sportsmanship. So, I mean, although on some level, different technologies are competing on Bitcoin, but we're also collaborating, because we all have the same vision in mind, which is to create a sustainable Bitcoin economy, right? And so this is a puzzle that can only be put together by all its pieces. So I appreciate you giving us credit for that, but the credit really goes back to the community and everyone who's come together and makes this possible. Thank you so much. And with that said, right, I want to thank all our prize sponsors, our media partners. On-Chain Monkeys is putting up a big prize. So is Interlay, and of course Rootstock, ICP, all really big prizes. It's on the dev post. We're going to add those prizes and the terms in our Discord, so you guys can see it for plain sight. And of course, like Sora Ventures, they put up the title sponsor prize, and it's a pool of $50,000. So you can win the other prizes, but the best teams from each of the other technology specific prize pools, they go to the final round, right? So this is a game changer. Even like the first place prize for the title prize is $30,000. So if you want to start a startup and you know how to use the money, it's definitely enough to, as Mithil said, right, to go from idea to your first round of fundraising. So it is significant, the prizes that are coming together. All of us have pitched in a lot. So thank you guys. Thank you so much for all the prize sponsors. And again, this is the operation cost, right? We're not taking any money from the prize money. So to you contestants, this is like 100% from the prize sponsors directly to the winners. Okay, so it's completely undiluted. All we ask is, hey, sign up, invite your friends, retweet it a couple of times, have fun, and let's build a Bitcoin economy together. So thank you all for joining us. And I'm going to do a quick checkout here. Again, this is brought to you by the Bitcoin Olympics, brought to you by Bitcoin Startup Lab. We are a top pre-accelerator building on Bitcoin, helping you turn your ideas into investment-ready startups. And everybody you see here and more are helping us to turn your ideas into investment-ready startups. And a big shout out to our media partners. We have BTC Inc., the parent company of Bitcoin Magazine. They're a top Bitcoin media. And then we have CryptoSlate, which is a crypto agnostic media platform, bring Bitcoin news to the rest of the media world. So again, thanks again for listening. If you guys want to reach out to anybody here, click on their Twitter space icon. Also, they're also going to be participating in the hackathon, or their counterparts or somebody on their team. They're going to help you do a deep dive into the code, right? And figure out exactly how to implement, right? So come one, come all. Let's thank you. I love the claps. Whoever did that, thank you. Come one, come all. Go to @BTC Startup Lab to sign up. Great, awesome. Thank you, everyone. So we're gonna sign off Twitter Spaces here. And then we are going to